welcome back. Now the next thing we're going to be changing on this Sunfire is our transmission mount. Now I bought this brand new, the whole thing, instead of buying the bushing. A lot easier and simpler to do. Now, much like the engine mount we did, a bad transmission mount can cause problems. Since the rubber bushing is supposed to absorb some of the torque, make a smoother, more comfortable ride, but also keep the transmission and engine in geometry, keeping everything else where it should be. And changing this should get rid of the issue where some people they think the transmission's going out because they'll be going down the road and it'll feel like it shifts hard, but in reality what's happening with a combination of bad engine mount, a bad transmission mount, is the whole engine transmission moves, and then once it shifts and the RPMs drop, it kind of drops and it feels like transmission's going out. Now you don't want to drive it very long that way at all. Avoid it at all costs, because you can and will cause damage to the vehicle. So it's best to go ahead and replace these parts as soon as possible, and try to, it is hard to watch for, but just try to replace these before they go out. I know it's hard to do sometimes, especially with transmission mount being back down in there where it's kind of hard to keep an eye on. The upper engine mount, a little bit easier to keep an eye on because it's right there on top. This is a little bit more concealed, especially if you have the factory air box. You really honestly can't see it. So we're going to go ahead and change this, showing you step by step how we do it. Now the first thing we do is scotch the rear tires, jack the vehicle up, take off the driver's side wheel. Then we went ahead and put another jack with a board under the transmission to hold it in place while we take all this apart. Now we're going to try to loosen this 10mm off, which is going to be a little bit of pain, but we're going to loosen that off first. Now after we deal with our expander bolt, we're going to take these 4 13mm out, or get the bracket out. Now hopefully you don't run into the same problem I did. My expander bolt stripped no matter what I put on there, so I'm having to drill it out. Either break the head of it off and use vice grips, or I'm going to have to retap the hole. One of the two. Hopefully you don't run into that issue like I am, but we're going to continue on. Finish removing this, pull that out. We're going to deal with that, then put the new mount on. Now hopefully your progress doesn't go exactly how mine did. I got the old transmission mount off, and here's a new one. Now I had to take the bracket off from transmission itself in order to actually, number one, get out of the car, number two, to finish pulling this off the expander. And I went ahead and put some grease on there and make it slide a little easier. And I'm putting it together now because since I had to drill the bolt out, well, I don't have anything to attach it to. So I got a little spacer I hammered into there. I got a bolt, I got a washer on the other, or a nut on the other side. That's what's going to hold it there and tighten it down once I get it in place where we want it. So unfortunately, this is not how I plan to do it. But if you look through here, there's nothing to thread it to now. So we're going to have to improvise and weld to the back of this. Now the next and final step is to make sure these 4 holes line back up. And you'll probably have to move the jack around a little bit, get them all 4 started, and then tighten them all down. That way they're all lined up. And then we're going back, finish tighten this one up, and then we're going to put the cover back on, wheel back on, drop the jacks, and then we're good to go. Alright, now there it is. It's all done. We have changed the upper engine mount, the engine torque mount, and our transmission mount. Now the engine is actually sitting as it should, and it's going to create a much smoother, better ride. Now hopefully all these videos on the Sunfire proved helpful to you, and as always, thanks for watching.